Okay, good day everyone. I know I ran the stream yesterday. Somehow the video was not saved and uploaded. So I'm gonna just do a recap. I'm only planning to do this on a weekly basis since there isn't any trade taken yesterday. Plus I lost my recording. It will make more sense to do another weekly trade updates. Okay, so let's quick recap. I'm a swing trader or intraday trader. My trading time frame is 2 time frames. I trade on the higher time frame at daily, and then when I execute my trade, I will go to the lower time frame between 1 to 4 hours. Right. I only trade Forex, and in this weekly trading journey, I'll be using my funded account from Funded Next, the 25k account, and we'll see how it goes at the end of the day. So right now my balance is at 24k and 800 ish, so it's kind of like minus 200 around there. So the tools that I use for my trading journey are basically Trading View. That's what you're seeing on the screen. This is for me to use for all my chartings, and I don't use indicators. I don't use a huge amount of indicators. I only use the Campus Valuation Tool indicator. It's a private indicator which is only available to OTC students, the online trading campus. All right. So yeah, if I have to based on this trading this evaluation tool to place my trade, you will have to be part of the program in order to have this. But I'm not here to sell any of the course. Fundamentally, I will be still showing how I trade the supply and demand. The indicator is just an additional tool for me to, give additional confluence for me before I place my trade. Right. Besides my charting tool, I have MetaTrader. MetaTrader is used for me to place my trade. It's actually one of the platforms that I can use to do my funded next account trades. Then the last tool I have is the position size calculator from my FX book. Okay, I don't know how people usually calculate their position size. There are quite a number of tutorials out there, which some are pretty complicated, some are I don't know. It's just paper math here and there. So what works for me is the FX book helps me to calculate my lot size, and it's been accurate so far. Then once I calculate my lot size, I will use MetaTrader to place my trade, right? While doing all the analysis, most of the time we will be on TradingView. Okay, let's start. So yesterday we went through 4 currency pair. We went through the Euro US dollar, British pound US dollar, US dollar Japanese yen, and also US dollar Canadian dollar. Right, so just a recap, I'm not going to go into the details of it. Right now, for the Euro US dollar, we are at the cheaper zones, and we are waiting for the price to come to the demand zone. Then we can start to analyze and place our trades. Then for the British pound US dollar, we are looking at both either long or short, depending on where the price go. Currently, it is in the uptrend. I personally would want to follow the trend and trade, so I would preferably place a long trade here. But we'll see how it goes, because it haven't even hit any of the supply or demand zone yet, so no trade for now. For the US dollar Japanese yen, similar situation, no trade as well. We're still waiting for the price to come to either the supply or demand zone, so still KIV. For the US dollar and US dollar Canadian pair, we are very, very close to the supply zone and we have already placed our limit order yesterday, and this is the limit order that we placed yesterday. All right, just in case you got not seeing. So I have all my analysis done yesterday, and I'm not going to go through again today. We are going to look into new currency pair that we can trade today. All right. So this is the recap of the 4 currencies. Now we're going to move on to, let me place this up here because it will make, then when we review our trade next week, we will be able to review the ones that are close to having actions in trading. So all right, let's move on to the next currency pair. Let's do the Euro pound. So to start with, I'm gonna remove all whatever drawings that I have. Okay, we're gonna start fresh. So we start off with the daily time frame, and over here we are gonna look for our demand zone. Right. So apparently what I'm seeing here is there is a possible demand zone that has already been mitigated. I missed this trade, but that's fine. So what happened here is it looks like it is a drop base rally. Okay, if I'm gonna draw this here, it's gonna be this. There's a 3 base candle. Usually for demand, I will use the green color. Right, it's already being mitigated, and I'm not gonna place any trade here. So the next zone that I'm actually looking at is this one over here. I think this is another potential zone that we could actually play, mark it as our demand zone. Oops. All right. Nope. It's being mitigated here, so no trade for this as well. So we're gonna keep looking for the next demand zone, and the other possible one is this one over here. Okay. Okay. So the wider area is being mitigated, but if we move to the preferred more tuned zone, it is still clean, and I think this is the zone that we could take our place our we could start our analysis here. This is a rally based rally, and for rally based rally normally we should have another zone at the bottom here, which is where I'm seeing now is that over here there's a drop base rally. Okay, all right. So typically there are two zones here, and we have to decide whether before we even decide that, we're gonna keep looking if there is any other zones around. Okay, so this is also another potential zone. I would say this is a decisive candle, so it's more than 50%. Is the body is more than 50% of the whole candle, and there is another zone here. Okay, so now we have all the zones, and we are going to do an analysis of the zone, right? So this zone is a pretty nice zone because it has a solid in and solid leg in, and then the leg out as well. The only thing I don't really like about the leg out here is the candle is not as strong as any other engulfing candles. So at desperate time, this is one of the potential trade that you could take. But if you are already on a lot of trades, this trade actually you can actually ignore. I would ignore if I don't have any, if I have a lot of running trades already. Then comes the next zone, which is this area. This area, I don't really like this area because there's too much action going on here. And this leg out candle is not really a strong candle. It looks okay, but it's still not the kind of candle that I'm looking for. I'm looking for this kind of candle, or this kind of huge candle. I prefer to have a very high quality zone than to trade on a bad quality one. Then the next possible one, so given that I'm gonna remove this, I'm not gonna trade this, I'm just gonna remove this zone. Then the next evaluation is this zone. This zone is already being mitigated, so it's not a valid zone anymore. Then comes the last one is this zone. This zone has one thing that I probably don't, sorry, it's actually another demand zone. Okay, so this is quite this is among this and this will be the zone that I would put my trade on. So if I'm gonna see the price now, it's still very far away, and based on the campus valuation tool, is actually in the middle now, so it's not really overpriced or underpriced, overvalue or undervalue. That's the term they use. So I'm gonna just leave the supply zone here. I'm not gonna touch it for now, and I'm going to start to look for the demand zone, right? So likely from this kind of a situation where the evaluation tool tells me that it's neither expensive, it's neither over or undervalued, I wouldn't be doing any trade. Plus the zone is not the kind of zone that I would want to trade on. So none of the things makes me comfortable here. So I can actually start to look on the supply side. So on the supply zone, what happens here is this looks like a potential zone, but then I'm trying to look for the leg in, and this is possibly, if I want to force a leg in, then this is the only leg in that I can see. So even on the daily time frame, the base is pretty much of quite a lot of candles. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So this is a very huge base, and this is not the kind of a base that defines the zone as in high quality. So again, no action for this particular zone, and I actually do not see any more supply zone up here. You don't see any obvious supply zone. So let me just put up the line here, because I'm foreseeing myself gonna drag quite a lot to the left. Wow. Okay, so the next possible supply zone is over here. And even this is not really a good supply zone. So overall, I'm not seeing any nice supply zone here, and we've been moved quite far out from the chart, and I don't really like to trade the kind of zone that is way too far out. So in short, there is no solid trading area here. I could move 2 days time frame just to see if my decision changes. Yeah, no, it's pretty much still the same. Yep. So I would say that euro pound is not even worth monitoring for now. We'll just leave it as it is, like this. Right, we're not going to touch euro pound for a very long time. So let's move on to the next currency pair. Okay, maybe before that we just look at the futures and see if there is any particular currency pair that we should actually start targeting. Right, let's do the popular one, dollar. So what I'm seeing is the US dollar index is actually overvalued, at a state of overvalue. There is a potential supply zone here. Yep. Which is about to be touched, or is it not touched? Yeah, it's probably touched. Okay. Based on this analysis, if it's ever gonna be touched or move up a little and being touched, there is a chance that price will go down. And let's look at the euro as well. On the euro side, okay, this looks like one of the supply zone, demand zone, sorry, and it's way undervalued here. And I think we can actually start to look at the euro futures. I mean, currency pair that has to do with the euros. It's gonna be interesting. So we are gonna expect euro to shoot up from now. So let's start to look at all the euros currency pair. Then at least we have a direction what we are doing now. Okay. Then in that case, we're gonna start with these two. Euro, Aussie dollar. So what happens to the euro Aussie dollar is now in the middle of the campus valuation, in the middle of the evaluation. It's neither too expensive or cheap, and seems like keeps coming down the price. And what we can do is probably start to look for a demand zone first. All right, guys, look at this. This is the kind of a very nice demand zone. I like this demand zone. Plus the leg in is it's kind of solid leg in. I would trade this zone, I'm not gonna lie. So what happened now, if you see that this zone in particularly is being mitigated on the wider zone, but if we move to the preferred one, which is just only looking at the body onwards, it's still not mitigated yet. That's probably why I have one of my trades being placed over here on another chart, on another what do you call it, on another I just can't get the word. On another challenge account, yes. Oh my god. Okay, so this is one of the potential zone, and look at this over here. It's coming down soon. So what happened is, as what we see from the euro futures, we expect the euros to go down. Let's recap again. No, we expect euro to rise up, right? So when euro raise higher, then we are going long then from here. So this is the zone that we are gonna be placing a trade today, a limit order. Two reasons. One is it's coming very close already, and even without going into the lower time frame, this higher time frame is not too much, right? It's 128. We could fine-tune this further, but before we even do that, right, we need to see the supply zone first. If the supply zone is at the state that very near, and we don't have a favorable profit target, then we are not gonna take the trade as well. Right, so one possible supply zone is the bearish candles here, but we don't have a good base here, so nope. This looks like another supply zone, but I always want to look for the very high quality supply zone, not this kind of zone which I don't even, it looks like it kind of looks like a zone. I mean, it looks like a supply zone, but no, I'm not doing this. This is too weak. So let's go down further. The next possible one is this. So what happened to this is the base is huge, really huge. Oh, come on, it's mitigated. So we're not taking this as well. Then we'll keep going over. Right, so what I'm gonna do is, as usual, I'm just gonna do like that. So I guess this is gonna be the next area that we're gonna look at. This is one of the potential supply zone. So if I'm gonna go down one time frame, because this is, I don't really like this zone here. One of the reason, because when this engulfing candles comes up here, is lower than, I mean it's higher than my base. That's the one of the red flag for me. But we just keep going to see. I mean, we have to analyze things in multiple time frame. Right. So if we go into the 16 hours, we can see that it's a zone, but it's already being mitigated, so it's not a valid zone anymore. And overall, that's why I think that this is not a zone that we should be trading. This is not a supply zone that we should be targeting. So we're gonna continue to look left until we find the next. Well, it seems like there is no, there isn't any supply zone anymore. Right. So given that, are we still trading? We don't know what is the profit target. Okay, so if this is the case, what I'm going to trade here is I'm going to trade the reaction. The reaction here means that when price comes down to the supply zone, to the demand zone, it's going to react. So reaction trade, usually I would be on the safe side. Whatever trading plan that I have now is more of, it's mainly all the reaction trading strategy, where after 1-to-1 profit ratio, 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, I will usually set my stop loss to break even, and I will close my trade as soon as it reaches 1.5. Okay, that's what I call it, a reaction trading. So this is not a zone. I'm gonna delete this, and I don't know where my profit target is gonna be, but I'm still gonna place the trade. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be screwed by people. So right now what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go to the lower time frame to analyze this base to see if we can further fine-tune our entry. So I prefer the 4 hours. So looking at the 4 hours time frame, this is exactly what we are seeing here, right? Okay, so what happened here is there is 2 zones here. One is this. This is a rally based rally. Then we have another one over here. Another rally based rally. Okay, so which one are we gonna take? Right. So given that earlier that we are looking at this chart here, this is like almost being mitigated. If I'm gonna take this the wider version, if we're going to analyze through the wider version, this zone is actually being mitigated already, right? It's just the preferred one is not mitigated. Okay, I know I'm making up story for myself, so right. So being touched so many times, so reducing it to, you know, just the preferred version, I might as well just put a little patience for myself and wait until it comes down to the base of the base, right? So let's say that we're not gonna take this zone, and we'll trade this at the, what do you call that, at the wider version, because we have so much to lose here, right? By the time they come down, the zone is very small if we're gonna take the, what do you call that, preferred version. Yeah, it's very small. It's like, this is like day trading, right? See, so small. Okay, so instead of that, I'm a swing trader. I do this. This will be my trade entry. Let's go back to the current price section. We can go back to the daily time frame so that we don't have so much of scrolling to do. Okay. Right. So because we are at a 4 hours time frame kind of a zone, we will not set our profit target yet. However, we will see whether there's another supply zone being created while, you know, while this comes down. So no profit target gonna be set. I say I want to trade the reaction, but but looking at the zone is so small here. I could go a little greedy here. Sorry, that greed overtakes me. Okay, so this will be the trade that I'm gonna be taking. So let's place the trade now. Okay, this is the Euro Aussie. The pips is 47.9. $0.78. Yep. And our entry price, then our stop loss, and this is a long trade. It's gonna be a buy limit. There we go. Right now we have 2.2 limit order placed. I will move this up here. This is where we last stopped. Okay, so next I'm looking at the next currency pair. We say we're gonna do the euros. Let's do the euro Canadian dollar. So let's start with looking at the supply and demand area at the higher time frame. Okay, from the evaluation tool is currently in the middle, neither too expensive or too cheap, too overvalue or undervalue, neither those. But we know that the euros already, the euro future is already hit the demand zone and price is expecting to go up, so we are looking for long here, and I don't see any potential long. Except for this area. So okay, let's start with the fundamental, looking for the demand zone. So for the start, this looks like a demand zone being mitigated already, so it's not a solid demand zone anymore. Then we're gonna keep looking further. Going down one level, this is also being mitigated. It looks like a demand zone, but it's being mitigated. Alright, there are two zones that I pretty much like to trade on. I just saw it. One is this. Okay, what happened here is the candle nicely goes up. The legging is nice, a short base, and then this engulfing candle, which is not too big, but it still engulfs. So, but it somehow looks already mitigated. I wouldn't be too interested to trade over this zone. I'm actually looking at here. This is the one that I want to be trading. Okay, it has a nice leg in, the base is solid, and then it just engulfs up. So the only thing is not too fancy about this zone is that it is not a fresh zone, which means that when I see over here on the left side, this is also another what do you call that, supply demand zone, right? And this is a weak demand zone. There are 5 candles in the base, and it's like it's not fresh, so this is the only drawback. We will see how the Campbell's evaluation tool shows when time comes, but as for now, this is going to be my solid, more kind of a solid supply demand zone. And as for the supply zone, what immediately triggers me to see the supply zone is this one over here, right? This one is a good zone. It's a rally based drop, and this candle is pretty huge, and I like this kind of a candle to be used for my supply or demand zone. And as far as I see, it is a fresh zone here. Not exactly fresh, or exactly fresh. I mean, there is this, it's already been, there is already a previous supply zone here. Nonetheless, this looks stronger. It's still a potential supply zone. The only problem with this supply is that as what we see, we are looking at euros going up, as in what's the word I'm trying to look here? Euro is going bullish, so Euro Canadian pair would expect a bullish trend as well. So shorting here is not exactly what I think. Not exactly what I think that it should be done. The only possible way that I can take here is there when there's a change in the euro futures, or I will just be trading on on the reaction only. So where I will just quickly put my what you call that, put my stop loss to break even when certain amount of profit risk reward target is reached. This is one possible supply zone here. I mean, this supply zone looks good no matter how what I see. Right, on top of that, the other one that we can look at here is this. The problem with this is there is already the wider version is already being mitigated, but the preferred version seems to be doing fine. It wasn't touched, although some would consider this already being traded. Okay, but nonetheless, since we don't have any actions here, we'll just leave it as it is. I think I have another account that's doing a trade here. I have alerts being set here. So again, no possible trade for this currency pair. We can look at least 1 to 2 more of the euro currency pair. Let's do the yen. I'm gonna move this up. Euro yen is now at neither overpriced or underpriced, overvalue or undervalue. What we are seeing here is we are expecting euros to go bullish, and immediately I'm actually seeing something here. Okay. The only problem with this, again, I always say problem, but it is a problem. Yeah, the only thing about this zone is, it was already a previously mitigated demand zone. Right? So if I'm gonna use this zone here, it looks like a nice zone, but then what happened is it's currently being mitigated, which we could go to the lower time frame to see whether do we have a lower time frame zone that is yet to be mitigated. But before we even go there yet, we need to see first the base candle. There are like 3, 4, 5 still fine. The one I don't like is the base. So the leg out has a lower wick than the base. This is the only thing I don't like, right? Given that I have no trade in place, I'm in desperation now to place any trade. I would analyze this zone particularly more. But prior to that, we need to see our profit target first, if we are going to trade here. So let's go left all the way until we find the next supply zone. Apparently we don't have. This is like an all-time high. Okay, so all-time high we don't short, right? We don't do short for all-time high. Well, guess we have another trade that we don't without a supply zone. Interesting. So now we're gonna go to the lower time frame and see if we could find any potential trading and entry zone. Okay, so this is the 4 hours. In the 4 hour, what we have here is there is a drop base rally, which I would say this is no longer valid. Then we keep looking down here. We couldn't find any zone here, so what we can do is we can go down another hour. We are still trying to force our way to find a zone, but hey, at the 3-hour zone we seems to have a zone here. And then there is a rally base rally here. We might not be actually trading at the end here. We may actually place our trade here. Okay, this is the 3-hour time frame. We can go further somehow just to see. It's so interesting that whenever we go an hour difference, we got so many opportunities around us. Right, when we go lower, we are able to see that we could actually fine-tune this zone here, but it's already been mitigated, so it's like we have to go all the way down. Yeah, so we still don't see a good zone at the end of the place here, and the 2-hour time frame, I don't see any potential trades for the 2-hour time frame. Right, just gonna undo this. Let's go to the 1 hour. 1 hour will be very aggressive. Okay, there's already one zone here being mitigated, and this couldn't be another zone that we can trade on. The price is currently here, so no trading. One way we could fine-tune this trade is still not as beautiful as what I would want to see. Okay, so I think I kind of made up my mind. I'm gonna go to the 3 hours and I'm gonna analyze just at the 3 hours here. All right, so underneath here, this is no go. I'm not gonna take this. I will push this further down until I cover the entire wick. All right, safety come first. All right, then this is the zone that is currently in. I wouldn't want to take this. Okay, this is the one. But this is already being, being touched. Unless we are looking at here. Okay, let's go back to the 4 hours. We come down again slowly. Aha. The 4 hours is the one that we don't have anything. Okay, let's go back to the 3. Okay, the 3 hours give me a time trading area here. Or here. There are no zones here. This is one of the 8 zones that I can't say it is still a valid zone, because you see it's being touched. I don't like this. I mean, I generally I like how the whole zone look at the daily time frame. it looks like I could actually do something here. But when I go all the way down, I just couldn't find something for me to trade. What about 6 hours? Yeah, nothing as well. On this hand, at the 6 hour, a more, what you call that, a more safe trade that I could do is over here, right? This is a drop rally. It's a rally. Actually, it's a drop base rally, and the base is fine. Just this thing that kind of bothers me. So would I take this trade? This is not a fresh zone. It's been mitigated before. It's not even a flip zone. This is going to be a very tough decision. So normally if I have a lot of trades going on, I wouldn't even think to put a trade for this. But now, this is the problem. This is the trading psychology thing. Like, when you don't have anything to trade, you kind of need to force your way to put a trade. And I'm not too sure whether if this is a good area for me to, explore. I could easily just, try to do a reaction trade here as well. Let's mark this a high risk trade. It's against my personal own policy, but I'm actually in the situation where no trade was being done. Okay, we need to record this. We need to journal this. If it goes well for us, it's just because we are lucky. And it goes bad on us, and we did our homework, we know that we shouldn't be taking this, right? If we are looking at 100% clean trade kind of a situation, right? But I have to do it. I don't have any trade going on. I may regret it. So you see, why am I negative now? It's because of this bad trading psychology. Okay, I'm gonna man up for this, but under a very careful manner. When the trade ever hits 1-to-1 risk reward, I will move the stop loss, and I will run, as in I will exit the trade at 1.5. This will be our last analysis before we close the stream. Okay, so this is Euro Yen. Position size is 66. Excuse. 0.6. It's a long trade. Buy limit, yes. Entry price. Stop loss. Take profit. for ourselves. Okay, we're gonna use another tool after this, which is Notion. It's gonna be used for us to journal all our trades. Okay, so I see that there's only one last euro currency pair here. Without going through the list down there, probably we do another one before we sign off. Okay, as we previously mentioned that we are going to do for euro futures, we are looking at long here, and this is one of the zone that I foresee now, or rather I'm looking at it now. It's been touched so many times, not barely anymore, and there's a drop base rally. Similarly, it's already being touched so many times, unless I move to the preferred one, which is here, and it's also being touched as well. So let's not go and get greedy as well over this, because it's already not a fresh zone at all. There are so many times being touched here. Right, there's one time the zone here is being touched, one more time it's being touched here, one more time it's being touched here. It's too, what's the opposite of fresh? Too unfresh. Okay. On the other hand, I'm looking at a very nice demand zone here, and I do see another demand zone here as well. These two. I prefer to focus on here. I already gone enough, had enough of high risk trade. These two will be the next one. So given this is a level on top of level where there's two zones close to each other, what we are going to do is we either take the whole thing here, or we take two trades. We'll see how it goes when the price comes down. Still have time. As for the supply, I think we see the supply zone. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. This is the supply zone that I'm seeing. Okay. All right. So this is a no action currency pair. We're not gonna be doing anything. So let's review again. We have Euro Aussie, Euro Yen, USD Canadian. Euro Yen, let's move top. And we're gonna go towards the currency pair in details. Okay, so we may actually have this trade triggered tonight, or probably next week, early next week. This as well. We may actually potentially, oh no, because our entry is so low, so we probably may not see any trades coming this week, but even by next week. But this is the one that we may see some actions, right? So there we go. Okay, we have all the trades placed, analyzed, and planned. Let's see if there's any trades being triggered next week before we wrap it up. Okay, so thank you so much for being in this stream. If there is anything that you want to see particularly from my weekly trade analysis, do let me know. All right, until then, see you guys.